Hello, everyone. So we're going to have smaller crowds in this, in the breakouts, obviously. So you don't have to be like we're in church or school if you want to, if you want to move up, go for it. Let a few people come in. So we've got a really exciting group of sessions here this afternoon. All right, how many people are going to an AI or a converged solutions session later? Is anybody? Okay. Hopefully you're coming back since you're on a panel. Okay. So you'll notice we've got a lot of stuff baked around the themes that we've been putting out in content, themes that we've had baked into our service provider playbook, and a lot of riffing on what we had in last year's CASA24. So in this section, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the themes from earlier in the day today. So we talked about what innovation looks like. We got some real-life examples. We talked about how to drive innovation into the organization so that we can really push that from a product perspective. And now, in this next series of sessions here, we're going to be talking about how we bring that innovation to market. All right, how do we engage customers? How do we enable the sales team? So that's what we've built this around. So we're going to start out with a little bit around the playbook. And how many people have seen the webinar, read anything that we've put out about the playbook? Okay. All right. So we'll dive in a little bit into the playbook, what it is. But what I'm more excited about is what we're able to do with the playbook. So we'll have some real-life examples of actual sales conversations that have been driven and that we've built on top of the playbook. And it's really fun when you start to see those things come together. So we'll do that. We're going to then bring up John Common. So he leads a company that focuses on growth marketing. And if you were here at CASA23 at the marketing roundtable, who was at the marketing roundtable last year? I don't see anybody that was there. The number one thing that we talked about was demand gen and driving growth through marketing. So we had a lot of questions there. So I had an opportunity to bring my friend John Common out here with us to Amsterdam. So he's going to go through that, what they're doing, what they're seeing as best practices in the market, and then bring up a panel of marketing leaders to talk about what's working and what's not working there. And then we'll have our CX punk, Adrian, come up. There he is. Leading a team, talking through innovation through the sales team. And then we'll wrap up and talking about verticals. And you'll notice as we talk about the playbook, verticals feature large. But it's also important to note that as we look across the membership base, the companies that are really nailing it have a solid vertical story, right? We could have a hyperscaler, we could have a super wide horizontal application company, and that's great that that's out there and all that functionality is out there, but what we really start to see the light bulbs turn on when companies connect with the verticals and go deep into those stories. So we'll talk about that as we wrap things up. So let's pop over to the other preso. Did you get the other one? Okay, cool. All right. So I figured there'd be some people in here that had seen the playbook stuff, so this was going to be more exciting that we could just say, we created a playbook. But hey, we created a playbook. So I want to start by talking about why we made this, right? So at the Alliance, we're working with a bunch of telcos, but we're also working with a lot of technology companies that are trying to figure their way out through the market. How do we bring solutions to market? How do we talk about those solutions? How do we enable our entire business to actually succeed with these solutions? So three key reasons that we actually invested in this playbook. And this playbook, step back a second. This playbook was contributed to by many of our members. We spent 3 solid months canvassing all of the use cases from our members. We spent months talking to our telco providers, members, and really understanding what's working, what's not working, and really understanding which solutions were out there. So it was a huge body of work, and then we brought our analyst partners in and took a lot of their work and put it together in a playbook. So absolutely massive amount of work, lots of sleepless nights. And 3 reasons that we did this. Number 1, I just want to throw a couple of quotes up here. So this was a guy, two previous lives ago. I was working with him to understand what we were doing as a CPaaS provider. And he's had tons of CPaaS providers in the US trying to sell solutions to him or through him. He led advanced solutions sales at one of the larger technology service brokers in the US. So they're doing hundreds of millions of dollars in sales per year. And this is the quote. He wasn't as nice when he said this, but I didn't want to put any cuss words up here. But they've been selling UCaaS and CCaaS in security for forever. And you think about all the CPaaS players in the world trying to sell through him, and it never connected with him what the heck CPaaS actually does. Right? You got these guys out in the field, ladies out in the field, trying to sell this stuff. And CPaaS providers start with, oh, we've got APIs, oh, we've got templates. But he's still struggling after 5, 6 years. The company's trying to work with him to understand what it is this platform does and how to sell it. And the other one, this was a year and a half ago. I was at a conference, and we demonstrated call summarization at the end of a call. It's been out there for forever, right? And this guy comes up to me, and his eyes are all bright, and he's so excited. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe you do that, right? How long has that technology been in market? Years, right? I know at IntelliPair, when I was heading up marketing there, we'd been talking about that for 5 years prior to that. But this guy comes up 4, 5, 6 years into the process, and we're still seeing struggles with buyers and sellers understanding what they can do and what we can do as an industry. Another piece is I've recently talked with the CEO, this was just a couple of months ago, talked with the CEO about what they were offering in market and trying to understand what he could actually bring along to grow revenue. And his comment to me was, Robert, we want to put as much value on top of our phone numbers as possible, and we do that through UCaaS. All right, what else can you do with the phone number? Can you send text messages? Can you run campaigns on those phone numbers? Can you do customer support over SMS, over RCS, over WhatsApp, over phone calls with those numbers? But this CEO was perfectly happy just selling UCaaS, right? So we still see out there that there's a lot of providers that are not taking advantage of the assets and growing things. So we wanted this playbook to really speak to them and show them what they could do in market. And the last one's just a math exercise. So GSMA reports 1,250 mobile operators, 80 operator groups, 4,500, 4,600 networks. And then on top of that, there's 150,000 managed service providers out there on the planet. And these are all companies, when you look at, let's layer in stuff on top of our phone numbers, let's do more for our customers. Every one of these companies has to go through the same process. Look at their customer base, understand what they can bring to market. Then once they bring it to market, figure out how to enable their sales team. And then once they've enabled their sales team, figure out how to engage customers. Literally hundreds of thousands of companies out there figuring out how to do essentially the exact same thing. Right? We've got the use cases baked. We know what's working, we know what's not working in the market, and that'll continue to grow, but we already have a body of knowledge on what's working. So if you run this out, you've got, if we just look at the mobile operators, that's 1,250 strategy leaders that we'd need to add, 2,500 product managers, 2,500 product marketing managers, 12,500 software engineers, maybe more, maybe less. But once you run the numbers on that, And I didn't use US salaries, I used UK salaries for this, so it's not as inflated as it would be if we just did the US, but that's $1.8 billion in headcount and talent that could be deployed on so many other things, right? So if all of these companies decide tomorrow that they want to start investing in this and start bringing these things to market, that's a ton of capital, ton of money that's going to be deployed on this. So that's the other piece as we look at the playbook. Let's give people at least a starting point so that we don't have to deploy all these resources around the world and figuring out the exact same thing. All right, so what's the report? Much more than a report. I've been asked many times, hey, can you just send me the PDF for the report? So what we're doing with this report is there is some text-based stuff, there's some hands-on stuff, but we wanted to answer questions around why should I care about these solutions, and why should I care about selling them? How can my business benefit from these solutions? What should I actually offer, right? There's a universe of stuff, but I have a set of customers that I service. I've talked with service providers that sell into home services businesses exclusively. I've talked to service providers that they sell into call centers, right? Everybody's got a bit of a different mix from a customer perspective, so there isn't one-size-fits-all way to go about offering things in the market. And then once the strategy leader or the CEO figures out I want to do X, Y, Z, how the heck do I get my leadership team involved, right? I've got customer success, I've got operations, dev, product management, marketing, sales, all these people that have to get the religion and be excited about the opportunity. So we wanted to help answer that question as well. And then who do I partner with? Right, this is an alliance of companies that are working together to bring products to market. We've got Cinch, Shedvomip, CM.com, the list goes on the companies that you could partner with. So if we want to get out to market fast, we want to identify those partnerships and not feel like we need to go build everything ourselves. So who should I partner with for delivery? And then how do I go to market and engage buyers, right? So we'll talk through a couple things there. So yes, I could print up a PDF. I've got the PDFs for these things saved on my computer. It's 80 pages of content. So we brought together Frost & Sullivan, IDC, S&P Global. We brought together Kaleido Intelligence, Metrigy, who just did a webinar for us on their latest CX optimization study. So we brought all of those analysts together and baked their knowledge in. But we also went out and talked to operators. We talked to CPaaS players and app dev companies to understand what was working, to bring those insights in. So we start out with 80 pages of market insights, and then that gets the strategy leaders, that gets the executive team up to speed and gets them excited about things. But then the question is, again, what am I offering? And then how do I get people aligned around it? So we actually put together a vertical and solution selection spreadsheet that companies can put in what their customer base looks like, and it starts to piece together which verticals they should be focusing on, which types of solutions that they should be pushing out, right? If you don't sell CCaaS or you don't sell UCaaS today, you probably shouldn't start selling digital transformation solutions tomorrow, right? You should probably start with the simpler things and then build up over time. So we actually walk people through that. And then we give the person who's probably never done this business case before the tools that they need to go out and start selling the other business leaders in the company around this vision and show them what the art of the possible is and what they should be bringing to market. And then this is the fun part. So as the marketing or as a marketing person, when product comes up with something and then they've got to bring it to market, and then you got to get some people using it, and then you got to get some use cases, and you got to get through legal and all of this happy crap, right? From a sales perspective, it's really hard to go out and have a conversation until you know the impact that these solutions have on the customer. So what's really awesome is with all of the providers that we brought in, they already have product out there. They already have solutions out there. They're already selling to customers and making an impact. So we brought that back in, and we've split it up across 12 verticals. So I'm sure you can find some verticals here that you're doing business in or that you'd like to get into. And we've split it up across 11 solution types, right? And this will continue to grow over time. But we started here. We've got 93 different solutions baked into this thing. And when you go into each solution type, the way we've split this up is we start out with what kind of challenges are addressed, right? If I'm a salesperson, I'm only ever talking to the IT person, but I have an opportunity to go talk to the ops person or the contact center or the marketing person. What kind of pain points can I actually go address for these people? How do I speak their language? So we get things started here. And then we actually do a deep dive, We do a deep dive for each one of those personas. All right, so you'll see cm.com, Infobip, Cinch. I think we've got some numerical, or we're going to have some numerical. We're going to have some numerical things in the next one, right? But this is really cool, right? So you see all these solutions from these different providers. You may partner with them, you may not partner with them, but every one of these providers, even though their name might not be on the list, will know how to deliver these types of solutions, right? So if you're partnered up with one and you find a solution from another, you can go to the one that you're partnered up with and say, how do we do this on your platform, right? It's really cool. And then we took the next step here. That's where the playbook ends, but the next thing is, how do I go out and engage customers? And this is another difficult thing, which is how do I create a campaign brief? How do I create a program? How do we start marketing around this stuff? Well, we've got enough information in this playbook where I was able to actually go back and create a campaign brief that had the key personas, what these solutions are doing, what are the solutions that we want to focus on. And I went to John in Intelligent Demand and said, let's create something that people can just upload a list, put their branding in, and at least get a start on running these campaigns, right? So especially if you're a telco who's never done this before, or you're a channel partner who's never done this before, this gives you a running start. And while you may not use this exact program, right, you may not use these particular solutions, this at least gives you a playbook and a map on how to get a multi-touch campaign going, right? So for the campaign that we worked together with John on, we're going after the IT person, because most of us, honestly, are probably still selling into the IT person. But some of these solutions also impact contact center, right? So we put together, how do we engage contact center through LinkedIn, through social media, start to pull them in and get them excited about products? How do we get the marketing person where we're doing outbound campaigns? How do we get them aware of what these solutions can do for their business? So we put the effort in to create this. I'm really excited about this and to see what we're able to do here with you guys on that. So just a quick recap, and then I want to get into a really cool example of how this works. So 80 pages of insights, 2 hands-on business templates, 93 solutions that are already in market that you can trust in, and then a plug-and-play demand gen add-on. And this is one of the strategy executives at one of the large operators that's a member. After we went through this with him, he came back and said, if I had this playbook last year when I started, I would have cut my time to market in half. Right? Pretty cool. So does it work? So I mentioned the CEO of kind of a mid-tier CSP in the US that we were talking with. He's offering UCaaS today. He's so excited. We're maybe going to do some development projects with him because he wanted to add on a couple of portal things. And we really started to dig in to what else is he offering to his customers. So we actually were talking about things in the playbook. And they said, okay, well, just give us a list of stuff. And I created the world's longest email, took stuff out of the playbook, sent it to actually him and his CTO. And here's an example of one of the pieces, right? So this was lifted directly out of the playbook, where I had solution number 4, virtual agents. We've got a ton of virtual agents covered in the playbook. I was able to take those particular stats because I knew this particular company is selling into home services businesses. And I looked at the stats that were tied to home services or services in general and pulled those back into this email. This was on a Friday. Monday, I was getting really nervous because I didn't hear anything back. And in the US, you should be doing emails on weekends too, right? So, but Monday afternoon, the CTO writes back, hey, you're going to talk to our CEO later. And the next morning, this is the email that I got back. Hey, had a great conversation with Gary, our CEO. We're going to talk about what it's going to take to bring these things in and what that partnership's going to look like, right? So over the course of a month, I've gone from a CEO that had never heard of these solutions, didn't know the impact we could have on his business and on his customers' businesses, right? And flipped the script on him and went from thinking about how can I sell the next UCaaS seat to how can I layer in all of these awesome things and provide more value to my customers, right? So this is really exciting. We've had several of these conversations. Fist pound. All right. So that's the playbook in action. And then what we'd love to do is have some conversations with you guys. And let's talk about your businesses and how different pieces of the playbook can work with you, can support you. Different slices and maybe some different strategies on how to leverage the stuff that we found in this exercise and bring that back into your business, whether you're a vendor looking to sell more through telcos or you're a telco that's just trying to figure out what's next after UCaaS and CCaaS and after my SMS business dries up, okay? So we'll do a quick quiz. I was going to pass out stroopwafel, but I couldn't get to the store. So come see me later, and I'll give you some free stroopwafel from back there if you get the questions right. All right? So some quick stats. We've got 12 industries in here. Looking at that list, e-commerce, entertainment, finance, food and beverage, et cetera, what do you guys think is the one that has the largest number of use cases in the playbook? Who wants to go? Joyce, you're almost all the way up at the front. Huh? Retail. No, actually. You might be surprised by this one. Who? I heard telecom. Somebody after my own heart. Yes. Telecommunications is 19 use cases in here. What's really cool about this is we're not selling to ourselves. Right? These are use cases that the telcos are actually using to employ or to improve their customer experience. All right? Next up on the list was financial services. So we know there's a lot of operators that are selling into financial services. Interestingly, or maybe not coincidentally, a lot of the network API stuff is also around financial services. We're looking at fraud and security, but also account notifications, customer support, and things like that, right? So financial services with 16, technology with 10, and I was only going to do 3, but since telco didn't really count, I did 4. So healthcare and e-commerce was 7, right? So these are really cool use cases, and when you go back to that email thread that I had, we were talking to a company that's selling into services businesses, but if you're talking to any of these companies, we've already got solutions there that you can use to flip the script on the customer, right? And get them excited about doing more than just selling what they're selling today. All right, another quiz. So I don't have to hand out any stroopwafel on the last one. So, top solutions. What do we think is the top solution? Out of these 11 up here, which solution has the most use cases in the playbook? We're at a CPaaS conference. What do we think has the most use cases in there? Hey, all right, yes, communications APIs. Ralph, yes, nice. The only person that doesn't want to talk about APIs got that one right. Virtual agents is number 14, and this one's really exciting because you can literally go in and talk to the marketing team that wants to engage customers, support customers through the sales process, talk to the sales team, talk to the contact center, talk to the ops team, right? Even the internal IT team. We know that there's several use cases out there where IT teams are using this to service their customers internally, HR teams. But virtual agents is huge. And we talk about Gen AI. We may give Gen AI the side eye as we're thinking about actually using this in the wild. But these things are actually working. And then digital transformation, which this is one of those that if you haven't done UCaaS or CCaaS before, don't start with digital transformation, right? But several of these other things you can. All right, and last quiz. We've got 6 different types of buyers in here, which is really cool, because if you're just talking with the IT team today, right, can I go have a conversation with the contact center? Can I have a conversation with marketing? Certainly, as Gwen sits down, Cinch has a ton of really cool use cases around marketing, right? So it's really fun to have this and talk with the sales team about, you can start canvassing the entire customer and getting deeper, providing more value. So as we look at the top buyers in here, which buyer do we think has the most use cases in the playbook? And if you got communications APIs right, no, IT. But that's okay, right? Because you can go back into the IT team and start helping them become the hero and solving more business problems with these 38 solutions. Marketing, 22, and then contact center, 14, contact center, CX, a little bit of a crossover there, right? CX is a little bit more nuanced in here. But when you look across marketing and contact center and what we're actually telling the IT team to do, it all affects customer experience. All right, so call to action, want to learn more. I'm in the Alliance, so you've got my email address. I'm at least in the community. So if you want to learn more, hit me up. But I would love to talk with you, whether you're in marketing, sales, strategy, talk with you, show you the different pieces of the playbook, and really strategize with you individually on where we can leverage those bits to help you either sell more or take these things and do more in your business, okay? And then the other part of this is if you're looking to actually take these solutions out to your customers, engage prospects, engage your existing customers, and grow your base, you can reach out through me, but we'll be bringing John Common in as well to really talk about those growth marketing strategies, okay? All right, with that, I'm going to get the next panel up. So we'll get John up here.